This is the god of the DC universe. Yes, this Monopoly Man-looking guy created the multiverse and the omniverse above it. And he is very different to Marvel's One Above All. Although both have been depicted as a mysterious old man giving our heroes mysterious old man type advice, the Presence, as he's known, is a lot more Christian? Judeo-Christian? Or Abrahamic, I suppose. Now, DC has, for a very long time, had elements of Christian and Abrahamic lore and myth incorporated into its canon. In fact, there is a literal DC character, the Phantom Stranger, who was there at the crucifixion of Christ. Or at least that's one of his possible origins, but another is that he might be an angel of God. This might not be a surprise to many, since beings like Lucifer Morningstar are characters within DC Comics. Bro had his own TV show and everything. He had a crossover with the Arrow and the Flash, which was fun, even if it had the budget of a literal shoestring. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Back to God, back to the Presence. Now, he might be capital G God, along with other possible aspects of creation like the Source and the Light of Creation, all beings that existed at or near the beginning of all things. Are they different people or different aspects of the same being? Good question. DC creation myth is even more of a multi-retconned patchwork mess than Marvel, at least in my opinion. Maybe I just need to read more comics. But the idea is the Presence, technically, existed before everything, and one day, or there weren't days back then, but at some point, God, the Presence, said, "Let there be light," or something to that effect, and from this, some tiny spark of light was born within the great darkness. And that eventually led to everything. This general old man appearance was, as I understand it, shaped by humanity's consciousness. Not like a Galactus thing where everyone sees Galactus as their own species, but the genuine dreams of humanity created this form of God. Although what level of influence mankind has on God in this way, I don't know. That's a bit of a scary thought. Does it change his actual essence, or just some representation in the universe? I have not been able to dig out a real answer. His first appearance in DC Comics is from a billion years ago, also known as 1940, in the interestingly named More Fun Comics, issue 52. Now, this story is the origin of another DC character. Jim Corrigan is a detective who takes down a criminal gang, but they get their revenge as mobsters do by kidnapping him, trapping him in a barrel filled with cement, and dumping him in the river. More Fun Comics, everybody. Jim drowns, as you do in that situation, and his soul rises up into the sky, but cannot pass into the afterlife. A mysterious voice with a golden text box tells him that his mission on Earth is not done, and he will be returned, imbued with great power. And of course, with great power comes great vengeance, because this is the first appearance of the Spectre, who is the spirit of vengeance. No, not that spirit of vengeance, the spirit of God's vengeance. Canonically, by the way, this spirit of vengeance, this Spectre, was the one who rained down fire on Sodom and Gomorrah, and brought down the Pharaoh in Egypt, and deleted all the Egyptian firstborn that one time. Canon. Or, I think it is, DC cosmology resets every other week, so I'm not even sure if this is legit anymore. But to be clear, this might be some reflection of a Judeo-Christian god, but other deities and other gods and mythologies and pantheons do exist in the DC universe. The Norse gods, for example. Did you know DC has its own version of Thor? He briefly worked for a certain German dictator in World War II. No, really. But that's another story.